We're going to be talking about easy fat loss. And there's three mistakes that you're making that are making fat loss harder. And we're talking about exactly what to do about it to fix that. We're going to talk about what an easy fat loss system is and how it could be the key that you've been looking for to getting the body you want. Now, my name is Josh Hillis, and I'm a certified personal trainer and performance enhancement specialist. I'm an RKC certified kettlebell instructor, a movement reeducation specialist. But you've probably seen me at my blog, loosestormandfat.com. I've got a bunch of subscribers, and a lot of people like to read it from a bunch of different places. Or you may have seen me in the Denver Post, or the LA Times, or USA Today, or T Nation, or I'm going to be in Experience Life magazine next month. So, in fact, here's the photo shoot with one of my most rock star clients for USA Today. But let's start talking about you and the easy fat loss system. You definitely want to take notes. So the times are changing. You know, back in 2004, when I first started personal training, I was looking for the fastest, most powerful ways for people to lose fat. But by 2008, I realized that the solutions that the fat loss industry had come up with were actually making fat loss harder. And since then, what I've been committed to is transforming people who had failed as hard workout junkies into fat loss successes with easy fat loss systems. Now, the old fat loss problem that we used to talk about was that people's fat loss programs basically sucked. And there was too low intensity to get people any results at all. And that was really the problem. It just didn't produce results. And so back in 2005, I used to give speeches on what the biggest fat loss mistakes were of 2005. And it was, in general, too much long, slow cardio. And then next, doing strength training with small movements like crunches and machine workouts. And also, back then, people thought you had to lift really light weights and basically had to stay pretty weak to lose fat. And that's what your fat loss workouts were back then. Long, slow cardio, machine workouts, and staying weak. And it's kind of funny to look at because, just now everyone knows so much better. And so we actually changed everything. Back then, there were about 3 people writing books on high-intensity strength training for fat loss. And it was me, Craig, and Ellen. And, at that time, there were a lot of people that were writing about high-intensity strength training for athletes. It was just starting to come into vogue in that world. But other than the 3 of us, no one was actually talking about it for fat loss. And so it was kind of a revolution. High-intensity interval training was a new and radical approach for fat loss. And people were scared of kettlebell lifting. They'd never seen anything like it before. And, the whole strength training for fat loss thing, it's hard now to even remember how new it was, especially for women. And you still run into this from time to time. Women are going to be afraid of bulking up. That strength training isn't really it. And I don't know why that one has persisted when the other 2 have so totally fallen away. But even that's kind of on the outs. And so there aren't many people making those old mistakes anymore. Now everyone's doing high-intensity circuits, and everywhere you go, there's boot camps and hardcore warehouse gyms. And right now, the top-selling fat loss DVDs in the United States are 5 hours a week of 100% balls-to-the-wall high-intensity workouts. Everywhere you look, it's high-intensity circuits now. And so this new high-intensity circuit world, we actually have a new set of problems. The way we approach fat loss has changed, and so the problems people are having has changed. And actually, it's the solutions that we had to the old problems actually cause problems of their own. Now there's 3 new mistakes that people are making, and these are the reasons why people are failing at fat loss now. And so the top 3 fat loss mistakes for 2012, you're going to want to write this down. First off, it's people doing high intensity all of the time. The second mistake is people doing circuits all of the time. And the third thing is this whole kick on like muscle confusion and random workouts. And so now, since all we have are high intensity programs, we got to cover one thing. High intensity does get people results, right? So what's the issue? The issue is that if you do them for too long, they can actually crush you. What we're actually dealing with is that it's too much of a good thing. And so that's why the smartest high-intensity programs are actually designed for short durations. Longer than 30 or 60 days of high-intensity balls to the wall, every single workout is totally unsustainable. In fact, for a lot of people, 30 days is going to be pushing it. So that's another thing that you want to write down. High-intensity workout programs, the problem can be too much of a good thing. So And so that's the other thing that you want to write down is that 30 or 60 days is about the tops. That's about the most that you can get out of high intensity before you got to change it up. And so there's a lot of people that actually thought that they failed because they've been doing high intensity workout programs. They got worn out, hurt, or they lost motivation, and they thought it was their fault. And actually, it's just that the reality is that high intensity workouts are unsustainable. So what Rockstar Fit people do is they'll do really hard workouts in short bursts, like 30 days, twice a year. But the rest of the time, they're doing an easy fat loss system. And the easy fat loss system is actually what makes it all work. And so easy fat loss is like seasons. And this is something else that you should write down. Easy fat loss is like seasons. Everything has to go through phases. There's day and night. There's summer, fall, winter, and spring. That's just the way the body works. It goes in cycles. And if you can start thinking about fat loss like that, then it's going to be a lot easier. Now, there's hard workout junkies out there, and they basically try to do quote-unquote summer all the time. But the human body can't do hard workouts all the time. So eventually they crash, and the results go backwards. But they keep doing it because it feels like a good workout. And so then after they crash and burn, then they go looking for the next crazy workout. It's actually not their fault though. All they've ever been taught is that hard workouts equal fat loss. So they go looking for hard workouts all the time. It's kind of like trying to hope it was summer all year long. Easy fat loss, the reason it actually works in the real world is because it's the way the body was actually designed to work. Where sometimes it's hard, but a lot of the time it's actually easy. It rotates, it goes with cycles. We actually create cycles for you to go through, and the body just seems to work really well with it. And so in an easy fat loss system, every single week, you're gonna write this down, every week you're gonna have hard workout, a medium workout, and an easy workout. And this is something that's obvious for anyone that's ever done any kind of a strength sport or endurance sport, like I ran cross country and track. Obviously, there's going to be hard workouts, medium workouts, and easy workouts. And a lot of people that are working out for fat loss have never really seen that. And I really credit Pavel Tsatsouline for in Enters a Kettlebell for really bringing that to light as like a everyday kind of strength training thing. And when I brought it to my clients and started playing with what would it look like doing hard, medium, and easy fat loss workouts, it blew the doors off everything. It's one of those things where there's been, obviously, if you're into strength training at all and you're into workouts and you start getting into the science, there's been a lot written about the physiology of how the body responds really well to alternating between hard, medium, and easy workouts. But another thing that a lot of people don't talk about is just mentally, it's a lot easier to deal with hard, medium, and easy workouts. When I use this with my clients, they totally love it. It's just something. It's easy to get amped for that hard workout each week, and it's great to be able to enjoy that easy workout every week. So make sure you've got some notes on that. And one thing also about easy fat loss systems is to note that there isn't even a hard workout every single week. That's another thing that phases in and out. Now, the next thing you're going to want to write down is that it also cycles from month to month. There's going to be high intensity months, and it alternates with low intensity months. Again, like getting back to trying to go high intensity all the time is going to crush you. And then another thing that's totally going to blow you away is that you'd think that people would get better results on the high intensity month and less results on the low intensity month, but it's kind of like something you have to do. Actually, and this is going to turn the entire fat loss world on its head, but the reality is I've actually seen people get the same results on the low intensity month that they got on the high intensity month. And so it's not even that it's a necessary back off, it's that the body just responds to that. And again, it's not a thing where there's been a lot written about the physiology, but it's not just that the body and fat loss responds to that and your results respond to that. It's also just from like a mental perspective and a motivation perspective, it works really well to know, okay, this is what I'm doing this month, and this phase has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and then I get to start something new and it's got a beginning, a middle, and an end. It just really works. It just really works for people. And so the last big mistake that people are making right now is this whole muscle confusion thing. And muscle confusion is just straight up stupid. I mean, if you think about it, when was the last time you got better results on anything by being confused? It's crazy. And actually, Okay, it makes more sense if you know that what the body actually adapts to is sets and reps, not movements. And so everyone talks about muscle confusion. Usually they talk about changing up the exercises, the order of the exercises. And the reality is the body doesn't really adapt to the exercises. It adapts to the sets and the reps. And so if you look at the programs that are touting muscle confusion, they actually aren't even doing that. It's pretty much the same sets and reps for the whole program, which means that they aren't even doing muscle confusion, which is actually kind of genius. Since muscle confusion doesn't work, they're giving the illusion of muscle confusion without actually doing it. So it's a funny marketing thing that they're doing. And you want to write that down. What the body actually adapts to is sets and reps. So what you should do with sets and reps, you're probably going to want to write down this entire slide. Okay, whatever sets and reps you're doing, you have to phase them. In other words, when you're doing a certain set and rep range, like let's say 3 sets of 10, because it's so classic, while you're doing 3 sets of 10, you want to take that somewhere. Like you want to get to either more weight or maybe more sets, but you actually want to cause something while you're in that phase. And then only after you've caused something, like after you've caused that adaptation, that's when you want to change. So you're usually going to change every 4 to 6 weeks. Any more often that you're actually wasting that set and rep range. I always tell my clients that what we're going to do is we're going to milk that fat loss. We're going to milk that set and rep phase for all of the fat loss results we can, and then we're going to go to the next phase. So these people that are all willy-nilly changing things all the time, it's crazy. They're actually getting less results because they're not milking each set and rep phase for everything that it's worth. So why easy fat loss? Okay, back in 2005, like I said, I'd just written my first book, The Stubborn 7 Pounds, and mostly what I did was I worked with clients that wanted to get in shape for a big event. And what we did is we would hammer their workouts and diets for about 8 weeks. Essentially, we were playing a hard fat loss game, super high intensity, 8 weeks, high intensity workout, high intensity diet. We get great results for whatever it was for, whether it was the the wedding or the trip or the 10-year reunion, whatever, and then there would be high fives all around. We all felt like we were doing really, something really cool. I even got kind of known for that, and it seemed great. But then it started getting harder. The longer I worked with a client, the harder it got to get them results. The workouts would get harder, the dieting became a struggle. Everyone was frustrated. The short version is what worked for 8 weeks actually didn't work for longer than 8 weeks. And so some clients would soldier through because they wanted to stay lean so bad, and they'd suffer through and they'd get leaner, or they'd stay rockstar lean. But a lot of people would get disillusioned with how much work it was, and it just became a struggle. And it sucked because my most motivated clients were actually the ones that were having the hardest time. And so it was kind of a dark time for me as a trainer because people were getting tired of it, people gave up, or people hated it and they just kept doing it anyway. And I kept thinking that there just had to be a better way. And so I searched the entire fat loss industry, and really all I found was more of the same. In fact, a lot of the ultimate fat loss programs by other trainers just turned out to be exact copies of workouts from my book, so that really didn't help me at all. And, everyone else was just saying that the only answer was to do workouts that were harder or to do more workouts. And so it was even more frustrating because it didn't look like there were any answers anywhere. In fact, I started to get kind of concerned that maybe this is just how it was, that maybe it just gets harder. But there was a course on movement that got me experimenting. It was by Eric Cobb, the creator of Easy.How. And he talked a lot about movement quality and the nervous system and hormonal balance. And when he got to the part about stress, something really clicked. We've all heard that stress makes you fat. And, one of the things I realized was that most people have way too much stress anyway. And all of a sudden, it hit me that doing workouts that kill you actually increases your stress level. And so adrenaline, what you get after a really hard workout and it feels so good, like that runner's high, actually has all of the fat storing effects of cortisol. And so adrenaline is actually just a short-term and more powerful version of cortisol. Like if you're running away from a saber-toothed tiger, the adrenaline would kick in the short term, and then as the adrenaline starts to drop off, your body hits you with cortisol. And so we talk a lot about cortisol in terms of, your boss yells at you, you have a bad day at work, and you have an elevated level of cortisol all day. But actually, the adrenaline you get after a really hard workout that kills you is actually just as bad. It's actually probably worse. It's like a higher, more potent version. And so it's kind of like the whole thing, hair of the dog, trying to feel better from having a lot of stress by doing a really ass-kicking workout is a lot like trying to get over a hangover by having more alcohol. And even if it feels like it works, it's still a really dumb idea. So it's one of those things where a lot of people have too much good stress. Like a lot of the people I work with have really intense jobs, and they've got families, and they've got social lives, and maybe they have other commitments in their community. And these are all really, really good things. But the reality is that there's only so much energy to deal with all the stress, even if it's good stress. There's just a limited quantity of what you can deal with. And most people don't have enough left over for really hard fat loss workouts all the time. And so I started to experiment. Now I had like a scientific rationale for why people should do easier workouts, but I just had no idea what to do. And so I tried working on movement quality only. Some people told me like, oh yeah, all we do is joint mobility and people lose fat, or all we do is, make people move better and they lose fat, and that really didn't work for me. And I tried taking the harder workout programs that I had people do and just doing shorter versions, and that didn't really work either. And I tried even just like the same thing but adding more reps between sets, and that really didn't work either. So in my search of easy, I went through all of my client files. I keep all of my client files, and so 7 years of client files, I went looking through what was the common thread in terms of fitness for people that hit all of their fat loss goals. And I was kind of shocked at what the common thread was, and I realized that it actually didn't take nearly as much as what I thought it did. And actually, if we were pursuing just that, it wouldn't take nearly as much as everyone in the fat loss industry was saying it was. And so I was able to jumpstart the workouts of some clients that had been stuck for months, and people started getting all kinds of new results. And also, these results stuck, and people were able to keep it off for years. But there was something missing. When it worked, it was awesome, and I loved that it worked, that all of a sudden, some of my clients were being able to lose fat really easily. But it didn't work with 100% of my clients, and I didn't know why. And it totally drove me crazy. I think actually my clients were kind of okay, because a lot of them expected that for fat loss to be really hard. But since I had seen some people lose fat so easily, and I'd had some of my clients that were losing fat so easily, it drove me freaking crazy that I couldn't make it work for everyone. And I didn't know why, and it wasn't coming together on my own. And it was just really frustrating. But it all came together because of Dan John. Now, Dan isn't that well known in the fat loss industry. He's even though he has written some amazing stuff about fat loss, and both in his books and on T Nation and on his blog, but in the worlds of track and field and Highland Games and kettlebell, everybody knows who Dan is. In fact, in the kettlebell world, he's a senior RKC, a senior RKC certified kettlebell instructor, and he's probably one of the most respected kettlebell instructors in the entire world. And actually, he's been producing results for his athletes for longer than I've been alive. So Dan's awesome, and he's a genius. So I was lucky enough that when he was in Denver, he actually came over to my house. And he told me a little bit about a seminar that he was doing, and then he actually started asking me questions about what I did. And in about 5 or 6 really focused, genius questions, he actually focused basically my entire life's work, everything I've ever done, into exactly what matters. And he didn't let me complicate it, which is totally the natural thing to do. I kept trying to take it. He spent all this time and all these questions focusing it down into one simple, powerful system. And then the thing I immediately tried to do was try to make it more complex, and he would let me. And that's really where the genius is. In actually everything Dan does is he breaks it down to exactly what matters and keeps it that simple. And if you've ever had anyone ask some really intelligent questions and focus everything you've ever done into one concept, you can then you know what that's like. It's hard to even put into words. It was actually one of the most amazing things that's ever happened to me. So then he said, no one else is doing what you do the way that you do it, and you've got to write about it. And that's actually where this entire program came from. And he even contributed a chapter for the book. And so actually the book is System 6, Easy Fat Loss. And it's actually 6 keys that make fat loss easier. And one of them is Dan's. He wrote it and he contributed it, and it actually pulled everything together and took everything to the next level. And so now losing fat's easy. Now the system is simple and clear enough that it actually works for everyone. And it works for people who are brand new. And it works for people that have been working out for decades. And it's kind of funny because I created it for the clients that had been working out, had gotten a lot of results, and had gotten stuck. And so originally it was to unstick them, But what's awesome is it works just as well for people that are brand new. And it's actually really funny for the people that are brand new. They start like this, they keep going like this, and they really never know anything any different. They actually just assume that fat loss is easy and simple. So it's great for both. And so now clients, really people are the thing that everyone always tells me is that. And I have started to take it for granted, actually, to tell you the truth. But people keep telling me that what really works about this is that it is easy and it actually does work in their real life, and they're shocked at how little time they spend working out. And that's pretty awesome. And the other thing that people tell me is that they know exactly what they're doing. Like it takes all the mystery out of fat loss to the point that people know, like they know exactly what to do. They know exactly what's coming. In fact, usually when we do our weekly weigh-ins and measurements, they tell me what the result's going to be before they hop on the scale. And not because they checked at home, but because they know exactly how it all works. And so most people are stoked that they don't have to kill themselves working out to get results. And, you get to buy new clothes, you get to feel good about what you're wearing, you get to feel good about taking off your clothes when you go to the pool or the beach. And so that all sounds awesome, but you've got to be asking yourself, is this too good to be true? I mean, if you're smart, you're asking yourself, is this too good to be true? And, it's one of those things where, like, the only people that are talking about easy fat loss besides me are the people that are selling those, like, stupid gizmos and pills and the people that are basically full of crap. And you know what? It's not as easy as a magic pill that you take and lose fat, and it's not as easy as a stupid ab thing that you spend 2 minutes a day. What we're actually talking about with an easy fat loss system is you're going to do real workouts. I'm not saying you don't need to do real workouts. You're going to do real workouts, and you're going to get stronger. You may get stronger than you've ever been before. But what I'm saying is, with an easy fat loss system, real workouts and getting stronger will actually be easier and take less time than it ever has before. And I'm not saying that you don't even need to change your diet. What I'm saying is that with an easy fat loss system, you're going to be shocked at how small the changes in your diet can be to have a big difference. So you're still going to make changes in your diet, but it's just going to be about 1,000 times easier from anything else you've ever seen before. In fact, that's one of the things that I actually haven't taken for granted yet is how shockingly simple and easy and small the changes in your diet are going to be. And so now you've got to be asking, why haven't you ever seen this before? The reality is that most fat loss gurus and trainers, even some that are famous, actually have no idea what it takes for people to lose fat. Like, they've got no idea at all. So they default to basically just throttling people. And so they hammer their clients with as much work and, basically starving people. They hit them with as much work and as little food as is humanly possible because that way a lot of people get results. If you're starving and working yourself to death, you're going to get results until you break. And then even when people do break, they're like, well, even if I didn't ultimately get the results I wanted, at least it was a quote-unquote really hard workout. And so, you end up trading sweat and puke for results. And so, actually the last thing, and this is another one, is that they really are kind of scared to do the experiment, to see how little it would take. Since they're so scared about getting their clients' results, they just keep on throttling them. For me, I actually had a heart-to-heart with my clients. I told them, here's what I want to experiment on, and I want to experiment with you if you're cool with it. And most of them were really excited, and we experimented, and we took it lower and lower, and we tried different things, and we actually hit the bottom limit where it stopped getting them results. And that would be a really scary thing for a trainer that didn't have the nuts to have that conversation with their clients first. But since I'd had that conversation, I'm like, okay, look, we hit the bottom. Now we got to move up from here. And we worked our way back. We found what was the absolute minimum. And, a lot of people just would never do that. I mean, actually, to my knowledge, no one's ever done that. And so they actually don't know. And that's why they've never done this before. So you actually can have the body you want. You're only going to do the things that make the absolute most difference, saving you the time and getting the best results you've ever had with an easy fat loss system. And you're going to find out the one simple trick that takes you by the hand and transforms your diet from transforms your diet for fat loss one easy step at a time. And, the other thing is, with an easy fat loss workout, if you were willing to do the work for hard fat loss workouts, then you're going to kill it with an easy fat loss system. And if you had the balls to keep coming back, the thing is with a hard fat loss system, it's going to crush you eventually. And if you're one of those people that was still willing to keep coming back and trying new hard fat loss workouts, even after the last 3 or 4 crushed you, then you're going to have enough balls to really kill it on an easy fat loss system. And, if you were so motivated that you would actually seek out, hard fat loss workouts. If you're one of those people that was like looking for, you're like, okay, the last one didn't work, maybe I should look for something harder. Then motivation really isn't going to be an issue for you with an easy fat loss system. It's one of those things where like I just think about how motivated you would have to be to deliberately look for the hardest option because you just do anything it takes to get the results you want. You're going to do really well with an easy fat loss system. And then if you're also one of those people that spent a lot of time trying to learn everything you could about fat loss and read the magazines and the books and, all that stuff, you're going to be really, you're going to be delighted to see it all come together in an easy fat loss system. If you go back and read the books and read the magazines and everything like that, you're going to be able to tell now what's makes sense and what's, BS. And, or you can skip reading anything at all because you'll actually know how it all works, and so you won't have to worry about it. Now, you're going to get the entire program in 3 versions: a gym, a kettlebell, and a bodyweight version. So you can actually get the body you want with whatever tools you have available. And even better, the tools you have, you're going to actually get to learn how to use them. And so it's one of those things where a lot of people are like, okay, I've got a kettlebell, and I know that kettlebells are great for fat loss, but I don't really know what to do with it. Or I've heard that form's really important, but I don't really know what good form is. You're going to learn all of that. Now, You're also going to find out the absolute strength standards that you have to hit to achieve your fat loss goals. And this is one thing that's really huge, because a lot of people are actually too weak to hit their fat loss goals, and some people are actually way stronger than they need to be. And so it's really going to focus everything you do. And then knowing these standards is also going to give you a really clear target. And I swear, man, there's nothing more motivating than actually knowing where you're supposed to be going. And so what we're talking about, System 6. System 6 is my easy fat loss system. It's 6 different keys to making fat loss easy. And each of the 6 keys is going to work to make fat loss easy all by itself. So if you only pull that one key would make fat loss easier. But all 6 keys working together work synergistically together to make fat loss easier. And another thing that's one of the keys to make it easier is you're only going to work on one key at a time, but it's just going to rotate around. So you're going to get better at each key every time it comes around. You're finally going to have everything you need for fat loss in 2 formats. You're going to have an easy and fast quick start guide in the System 6 book. So if you read it, you've got the fast version, you've got like the ultimate long version. You're also going to have Hanging Out with Josh videos. There's a bunch of videos of me just chilling and talking with you about the program. And for the people that really want to know how and why it works, I'm going to break down everything about what's going on. And so it's kind of cool because if you want to know just what to do, you can pull that right out of the quick start guides. If you want to know everything about why it works and what's going on, you can dig into that too. You get to choose. You're going to have a framework to lose as much fat as you want with these really smart and effective fitness programs. And you're going to have about a year's worth of workouts. So no matter how far away you are from your goal, you've got enough to get you there. And if you're already at your goal, you've got enough workouts to actually be able to keep you there and maintain it. And so really what this is all about is you're going to be able to feel amazing wearing whatever you want. You know, it's one thing to have to choose your clothes based on, you know, like what covers up the parts of your body you aren't as proud of. And it's cool to actually be able to wear whatever you want because there's nothing to cover up because you're stoked about all of it. And so ultimately what the game we're playing is so that you can look better in your clothes or look better without your clothes, but feel confident and sexy wherever you go. And you know, when you feel lean and tight and you can actually just show it off, that's the best feeling in the world. So it's really about being choices. And, you know, I look at it like the leaner you are, the more options you have socially, you know. You can go anywhere and just be yourself and not have to worry about how you look. And it's cool. Probably the coolest, I shouldn't say the coolest thing in the world, but it's pretty awesome when you've lost weight and you know, you don't have to say anything about it, but other people notice and they mention it. Maybe they ask what you're doing. That's pretty awesome. And so here's what you're going to get. You're going to get a weekly score that tells you exactly what the one thing that you need to do to lose the most fat each week is. And that's, man, this is so powerful because it's so easy to get lost in like a million things you've heard about that you should do. You're actually going to have a system for knowing exactly what the one thing that you need to do each week to lose the most fat. Then you're going to have a fat loss diet that's so simple that you can actually do it in real life. You're going to know the strength levels that you have to hit so that you can reach your fat loss goals, because if you don't hit them, you're going to be spinning your wheels. And you're going to find out if you need to focus more on your workouts or your diet. And it's one of those things where a lot of people write about this. They're like, oh, you know, your fat loss workouts can be the most important thing if you do it like this, or no, really, it's all about diet. And here's the reality. It's different for different people. And you're going to have the key to know which one you should be focusing on right now. And on top of that, you're going to get videos that teach you how to do each movement. And again, kind of like the quick start guides in the book, You're going to have videos. You're going to have like the short, like boom videos, and you're also going to have longer videos that dig in. So you can actually get whatever you want. You can get shorter, longer, more information, less information, whatever you want. You're going to get everything you need to know to learn how to do a complete fat loss workout without a gym. You're going to find out how to do all the cardio that you need in 2 sessions that last less than 8 minutes each. Over half the workouts you do are going to be easy, and you're going to get better results. And you're actually, check this out, you're actually only going to do four hard workouts every 6 weeks. Now, every workout page is going to tell you exactly what to do that day. Sets, reps, you're going to know how much weight to use, everything. It's all going to be spelled out for you. And you're going to know when you need to move up in weight for you to make the most progress. On top of that, even on top of every page having exactly what you need to do on that day, you're also going to have on the side of it, you're going to have an overview of the Easy Fat Loss Master Plan, so you can see where you are in that phase. And again, this is another one of those things where, like, so you don't get lost in it, like, to always know exactly where you are and to know that you're in a plan that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It just works so well for motivation to be like, that's where I am, this is what I'm doing today, here's where I'm going, that's where I've been. It just works. Now, the original System 6 gym program is going to this is really what it's all about. This is the first thing I ever put together on how to make fat loss easy. And it's all based on the original strength standards that I came up with when I went through 7 years of client data, finding exactly what you actually needed to do in your workouts to hit your fitness and fat loss goals. And this is it, System 6, Easy Fat Loss. Like I said, 6 keys that make fat loss easy. Now, here's what you're going to get. You're going to get a 6-phase Easy Fat Loss program that's worth $94. You're going to get the System 6 in-depth video coaching that's worth $94. You're going to get a System 6 super quick start guides that are worth $47. And put that all together, that's a $235 value. But there's a bonus, the 2 Kettlebell Savage Fat Loss Supercharger. Now, this is a $39 program sold separately. And what it has all 6 phases of System 6 completely rebuilt and redesigned to have the workouts be done with kettlebells only. And it includes my famous double kettlebell fat loss progression for more fat loss results in less time. And this is one of those things where, again, it's about, okay, I've got 2 kettlebells. How do I progress? Where do I go? How do I use these for fat loss? And just like the strength standards in the System 6 original program, you're going to get strength standards for kettlebells for the body that you want. Now, it kind of blows me away that no one else has ever written a 2 kettlebell fat loss book before. I mean, everyone knows that 1 kettlebell is awesome for fat loss. 2 kettlebells, I won't say it's twice as good, but it's close. It's maybe 1.5 times as effective. And so it's one of those things where this was such a slam dunk no-brainer. I mean, like, if you're doing fat loss with kettlebells, you want to use 2 kettlebells. It's just, it should have been obvious. I don't know why anyone else was doing it. And then another thing, there's something that's kind of funny. I've so made kettlebell lifting popular as a fat loss tool for women that I actually get the question, do kettlebells work for guys? And it's super funny because originally when I first started kettlebell lifting back in 2004, it was all like Green Berets and strongmen and like I mean, obviously it came from the Spetsnaz, but it was all dudes. It was all dudes. I found out about it kind of by accident because I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I think I found out about it from Grappling Magazine or a police officer or something. But back in the day, it was all dudes. It's actually only been in the last couple of years that kettlebell lifting has really come into vogue as, something that like Katherine Hegel and the girls from High School Musical and 300, it's only been the last couple of years that it's become like the fat loss tool for Hollywood starlets and, in every women's fitness magazine. It started off as like a hardcore strength tool for dudes. So, long answer to the question, totally works for dudes. Awesome for dudes. So, what you're getting is 6-phase Easy Fat Loss program, like I said, worth $94. System 6 in-depth video coaching, System 6 super quick start guides worth $47, and the 2 kettlebell Savage Fat Loss Supercharger worth $37. Total value of $272. But wait, I'm giving you guys a second bonus. The Bodyweight Mastery Workout Anywhere Fat Loss Program. Now, this also is a $39 program sold separately. It's got, all 6 phases of System 6 completely rebuilt and redesigned for bodyweight training. And it's got my famous bodyweight progressions. And this is something that I used to do seminars on all the time. Because what it comes down to with bodyweight is that you can do a great fat loss workout anywhere if you've got a way to progress it. It's like we're going to change the phases, right? Just like we're talking about changing the sets and reps. So you've got to be able to know how to alter the bodyweight workouts so that you can get exactly the right amount of resistance for you in that phase. And so if you've got the progressions, you can do that. And that's how you're going to get fat loss results from a bodyweight program. And so the idea here was, the whole reason I wrote this is so you could get a bodyweight fat loss workout anywhere, basically so you don't need a gym membership. And so this is the bodyweight fat loss workouts. Again, it's got a picture of a girl on the cover, but yes, obviously push-ups work for guys also. I mean, bodyweight, it just works for everyone. So we've got the 6-phase Easy Fat Loss Program, $94. We've got the System 6 in-depth video coaching, also worth $94. System 6 super quick start guides, worth $47. 2 kettlebell Savage Fat Loss Supercharger, worth $37. Bodyweight Fat Loss Mastery, $37. And so the total value is $309, which is actually pretty good. That's about how much it costs to work with me in person for 2 hours. So it's not a bad deal at all. But you aren't going to pay $309. You probably saw that one coming. You're actually only going to pay $67. So you've got your 6-phase Easy Fat Loss Program for $67 now. And then the in-depth video coaching is free. The quick start guides are free. The 2 kettlebell Savage Fat Loss Supercharger is free. The Bodyweight Fat Loss Mastery Program is free. And you get it all for only $67, which, I mean, that's about what it costs to work with me for a half hour. So that's a really good deal. Next question people ask, what am I going to need for this program? Some of it I've covered already. Whether or not you need a gym membership, whether or not you need, but here's what you're going to need. The real reason I made the Bodyweight Fat Loss Program is so that you can do System 6 Easy Fat Loss with almost no equipment at all. What you will need, because anytime we're doing bodyweight workouts, what's really the tougher part is how to get in a good pulling movement. And so if you can do pull-ups, you're going to need access to a pull-up bar, whether that's at a gym or if you get one of those, door frame pull-up bars. Right now they sell them at the drugstore for like less than $20. But if you can't do pull-ups, then you'll just need some dumbbells to do pulling movements, and I'm sure everyone has access to dumbbells somewhere. What you'll need for the double kettlebell fat loss supercharger is you're going to need at least 1 kettlebell. And if you're new to kettlebells, then actually 1 kettlebell is the place to start. You don't need to start with 2 kettlebells if you're new to kettlebells. You'll get all the results you need out of 1. Now, if you've been lifting kettlebells for a while, 2 kettlebells is going to be better. That's going to be how you kick it up to the next level. That's the whole reason I wrote a 2 kettlebell fat loss supercharger. Now, the kettlebells, and this is really cool, the kettlebells don't need to be the same size, and I actually think it's more fun if they aren't. I think it's awesome. One thing that's kind of funny is one of my clients has 2 kettlebells that are the same size, and then when he works out with me and we've got all the kettlebells that he would need, he's always kind of grumbling about how he wishes he had 2 that were different sizes, and he always uses 2. They're different sizes with me. So 2 that are different sizes is actually great. You get all of the work of 2 kettlebells and all the fat loss power, but you also get some of the core stability and stabilization strength of 1 kettlebell. So it really works to have 2 kettlebells that are different sizes. And you're also going to get a kettlebell buyer's guide telling you how to progress and which kettlebells to get, and and where to go. It's actually really cool. I mean, I say buyer's guide, but it's really actually kind of a progression guide, and it teaches you how to move up from one weight to the next. But the reality is, if you have two kettlebells right now, you're probably going to do great with the two kettlebells you already have, and you probably don't need to buy more for this program. At least not yet. I mean, you could get a year's worth of use out of a pair of kettlebells easy. So start with what you got, and it'll be awesome. And if you need to add one a little bit longer down the line, then you can. So for the full System 6 Easy Fat Loss program, you could do the whole program at the gym. You could do dumbbells, body weight, barbell, but you could also do the whole program at home with just a couple kettlebells. And it was actually designed for that, because I know a lot of people are working out at home these days. And so eventually everyone that does System 6 is going to get to the point where you can do pull-ups. You just are going to get to a point where you can do pull-ups. I don't care if it takes a year, 2 years, 10 years. And so at some point, you'll get to the point where you can do pull-ups, and you might want to get one of those door frame pull-up bars. Like I said, they're pretty cheap right now. But you could easily, especially if you're new, you could spend a full year just doing all of your pulls with dumbbells and kettlebells. So you definitely don't need that to start. And the program actually, out of all the fat loss programs I've seen, this one actually requires probably the least amount of equipment. So I'm taking all the risk. I'm giving you guys a 60-day money-back guarantee. And so this is, you can actually try it out. You can watch all the videos. You can try out all the workouts. You get to experience every single part of the program for 2 whole months. And if you actually don't lose more fat with more ease and easier and simpler and faster than you ever have before, then I actually want you to ask for a refund. And I'll give it to you, no questions asked. And I'm just not worried about that, because I know you're gonna love it, and I know it's like nothing you've ever seen before, and you are going to be so totally stoked. That being said, just want to make it super clear: 60-day money back guarantee, no questions asked, all the risks on me, and yeah. So if you need it, it's there. But it gets even better. Right now, because I'm launching it, I'm going to kick it up to an even bigger sale. So instead of $67, it's actually only going to be $47. And so, so this is the launch. This is, I'm just releasing it. It's $47, man. It's a great deal. So just click the add to cart button below, and you're going to get the System 6 Easy Fat Loss program that's going to make all your workouts easier. You're going to spend less time in the gym. You're going to know the only one thing that you need to focus on to lose stubborn fat every single week. And you're going to lose the fat and get the lean, tight body that gets noticed. Just click the add to cart button. That'll take you to the ClickBank secure order form. Enter in your information, click pay now, and then you'll get instant access to the whole program. You'll immediately get the 6 keys to fat loss. You'll get the instant access to the Savage Kettlebell Fat Loss Supercharger, and you'll get to use the Bodyweight Mastery workout right now, regardless of where you are. Claim your copy right now. Go ahead and click the buy now button. Get it all right now.